live. Hey, you guys. Come on in. We're here. I am Mike Alden, and this is...
Jen Herman.
Yay!
Sorry, I'm over here trying to like push buttons, and I'm like, oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And I'm talking to all of you watching
Everybody
right
watch.
now.
Yes.
We are obviously 50%.
180. we're 180 of our 360.
Amanda is traveling. God bless her. She is... I don't know. Can you drive a car from here to Africa? Because I think that's where she's headed. Is like across
I think she's got
ocean.
enough miles at this point to have like almost circumferenced the planet. At this point, the girl has been doing some crazy driving. She's gonna, definitely appreciate having a place to settle when that time comes, because she has seen more time on the road than the average human being probably ever would in their lifetime. So if she can join us later, she will pop in. And our other 90 degrees, Miss Stephanie Liu, will be here shortly. So
any minute.
Any minute.
Assuming I can add her. We'll see. Pray into some tech gods that I can figure this out, because I don't typically do these lives with multiple people, not when I'm controlling. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So yeah, we left Mike in charge of the tech today because he's a highly capable individual, and he's like, okay, we're gonna make this work. So we're glad that all of you are here. For those of you who are already 360 Marketing Squad members, hey, we are glad you are here. For those of you who are not officially 360 Marketing Squad members, why not? Hello, be amazing. Come hang out with all of us. So 360 Marketing Squad, literally go to 360marketingsquad.com. It is our membership program, which is $5 a month. That is it. That gets you in. That's what you pay every month. That price will not go up next month or any point in the future that we know of. So $5 a month you get in. We do a live training in the group once a month. I just did a live training today about Instagram analytics. It was like an hour and 15 minutes deep dive into everything about Instagram analytics. It was so nice not to have a timer. Like I was like, yeah, I can just talk and just get through all of this information. So we did that last month. Mike did an incredible training session on blogging and content management and all of these like super smart things that he's super smart with. So that's just the live videos. I mean, that alone is worth $5 a month, you guys. Like, not even joking. But then you get, we've got downloads and resources and everything in the group. Plus, it's a full Facebook group with all four of us, me, Mike, Stephanie, and Amanda, at your fingertips to help you with all of your 360 degrees of marketing questions. So if you're not already part of 360 Marketing Squad, come join us. Go to 360marketingsquad.com and you can enroll today and be one of the cool kids with all of us. All right, so now that that's out of the way.
Yeah, thanks for that. We've got Tom Harness in the audience. Hey, Tom. He is one of our valuable members. And yeah, this isn't going to be a big sales pitch, rah-rah, but just to clear out some stuff. Yeah, Tom, it is. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions. Absolutely. He asked whether or not we can ask questions. They can ask questions. And thank you for the support, Tom. Carol McPherson. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Anybody else who's watching live, let us know where you're watching from. And in particular, let us know what you plan to do in the coming year for marketing, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. How to get that sorted out, what you should be focusing on, how to even know what's going to work, what isn't going to work. What do you think about all these different trends, that sort of thing?
Yep. 2019 marketing planning. That is what we're here to talk about. So we do, have kind of a checklist of things we want to go through, an outline of things we want to discuss with you guys. But yeah, to Mike's point, and as Tom asked, please bring the questions. We're here to serve you guys as well. So if you have those questions, on that housekeeping note, Mike, did you post the eCam approval link in the chat or in the description? Oh, we don't need it for this one?
Only need that inside group. So, hey, we're good. I can see every single person who's commenting.
Good.
I can see you. I can put it on the screen like I did for Tom. We're good. Unless I break it, in which case we won't be good. But that'll be on me.
In which case, we all get to go home early. So
bonus Friday.
Although we're already at home. But you know what I mean. All right, so why don't we dive right in? Mike, what do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, well, the great place to start is, where do we start, right? If we've never created a marketing strategy, or maybe we have and it's been a while and we're just not sure what to do, with all this stuff that we could be doing, all these social networks, all this content, how do we figure out what we're going to do next year? Where do we start? And I'll let you kick it off while I look at some more of these comments.
Perfect. So one of the first things, there's a couple things you want to do to get started. First of all, you need to answer the question, why? And you may need to answer that why 4 or 5 times to really figure out what your why is. But a strategy is useless if you don't know what it's for. So your why needs to be, why are you using social media? Why are you creating content, whatever that content is? Why are you trying to build an audience, however big that is? Why are you doing any of the things online that you're trying to do? The why has to give your purpose to your strategy. So are you looking for, and it could be multiple things, but are you looking for brand awareness? Are you a newer company, newer to the block, and you kind of want people to know who you are? Are you specifically looking for sales and revenue increases? Are you looking for to specifically build your audience for a certain reason? Maybe you want to build your email newsletter. Maybe you want to build your funnel. Stephanie, we got 270 of 360. Stephanie is in the house.
Hi.
Hi, girl.
Hey, everyone. Wow. Look at that. Like I get like a day off from being the producer. I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
I'm going to be late next month too.
I'll be here next month.
So Steph, we kicked everything off and we're talking first about how and where to get started in terms of if you don't have a strategy or it's been a long time since you've looked at social media strategies. So I was just kicking it off saying you need a why, and to be able to answer that why you're using social media, because you can't craft your strategy if you don't know what you're using it for. Mm-hmm. So you want to look and see what those goals are. What is it that you want out of social media? And if it's that you want brand awareness, what type of brand awareness do you want? Do you want people to know you because you've added a new product or a new division of your business? Are you a brand new business and you just want people to know your business, your name, your functionality, your product solution, whatever it is? If you're looking for sales and revenue, what type of sales and revenue are you looking for? Are you looking for new product sales? Are you looking for legacy product sales? Are you looking for a 20% increase in sales? You need to have tangible goals that then social media can tie into, because you can create all the strategy you want, but if you don't have a goal for talking about, we were saying Amanda's been basically driven around the world at this point. She has a clear goal on each road trip. Like, she's going to this destination, and then she can literally plot out the map of how she's going to get there. But if she didn't know she was going to point A, then she's just driving aimlessly around the country, which could be kind of fun. But
are we using like GPS as our like business analogy?
We could be.
But yeah, so let's talk about Amanda. She's not here. Let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just talk about her the whole time.
But having a strategy, you guys, having a strategy in place is really kind of like your GPS for your business, and getting from one destination to your business to the next. Sometimes on paper it looks really nice, right? But then there's shiny object syndrome. You might see like a Ferris wheel or Disneyland on the side. You might like get off course a little bit, but your strategy is your GPS to get you right back on there. Right, Amanda? So I hope to see you soon.
I love that, Steph. That was awesome. And that's the thing, because the strategy has to be something that has a little bit of flexibility, right? It can't be something that's written in stone in the sense of like, we are doing this and this is all we're doing, because new features will roll out. Features will disappear. Business things will change. There will, your business may hit hiccups or growth or things that would change how this strategy is going to roll forward. So just because you've got your why, you know where you want to go, the strategy is going to be what gets you there, but there has to be room for that flexibility, for those detours when you see an outlet mall on the side of the freeway and you got to get off and get some new shoes. I'm just saying these things.
Hey, something that
right, or the Disneylands, or whatever that shiny object syndrome is, or whatever that delay is, or things happen. You have to be able to have that flexibility in the strategy.
Got it. Very cool.
All right, so that's the kind of let's say that's to get us started, right? So we're going to, we have to set the why. So once we've done that, one of the other things I always sit down and talk with my clients about is who. Who are you talking to? Because again, strategy is great, But if you're catering it for, a 45-year-old male, but your target audience is a 25-year-old female, the strategy is going to get you significantly off course and you're never really going to reach that destination.
So basically you're saying, like, if your CMO is like 50 and up trying to target, a Gen Z, you might not want to have them write the copy. You might want
Unless
to tailor
they
the copy.
could be good at it.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
But in general, you need to know who you're talking to, right? Because, even then, like, I tend to know, like, we all know our audiences. I tend to have a target audience of, on average, a 45-year-old woman who is a mom, who is running her own business. It may be a small business. She may have a team. She may be an entrepreneur. That's traditionally who I'm talking to. So I craft my content as if I'm talking to someone of that general personality and style. That doesn't mean that I don't have 28-year-olds following me. It doesn't mean I don't have men following me. It's just that in general, that's where my demographic is and that's where I'm creating content. And I'm using that tone, that voice, that style, those analogies, those stories, those things that connect with that audience. So if you don't know, if I was sitting there talking like I was an 18-year-old talking to a bunch of college kids, these 45-year-old women who are traditionally my audience would be like, what? Who are you talking to? Like, they would not know what I was saying with all the emojis and the acronyms and all the, LMKs and all these things. Like, they'd be like, what is this girl doing to me? Like, so I would lose that audience. Doesn't mean I couldn't build an audience in the 20s demographic, but that's not who my audience is. So, you guys have anything to add to that?
Well, let's talk about, like, how do you know who your target audience is,
Yes.
right? And for many of us, we have insights and analytics and dashboards where we could figure out who our audience is. I mean, you just did an amazing, badass live stream today in the group talking about Instagram analytics and how you could understand who's looking at your content. Same thing with Facebook. You guys could easily go into your Facebook insights, see the split between men and women, see the split in between the actual age groups. That's always helpful. You could even do that on Twitter. I mean, you could do that with Agora Pulse, right? So, and that's super helpful. So knowing and understanding who your target audience is, and I even preface to say that sometimes when people work on their social media strategies, they treat it as if it's an island, but I feel like you and I, Jen and Mike, like, we're all talking about, like, your overarching business marketing strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only simply just your Instagram or your Facebook, but really your overarching business strategy. And it is so weird not being the producer for this, like, because I don't know when Mike is going to put the camera on me, and I feel like that internet meme where it shows the little golfer and he's all dun dun dun, right? Like, that's.
But I wanted to add to, I know, I think Mike's going to end up liking this, and he's going to want to do this more often.
Yeah, no.
But to add to kind of Steph's point with knowing who your audience is, it goes beyond just, age demographic or, male, female. It could be actual, like, geographical locations. It could be hobbies and interests. Like, Mike is known, he built an entire brand awareness around Star Wars. And people know him for Star Wars, regardless of whether or not that has anything to do with blogging or social media context. He built brand awareness around that kind of tribe of people. That doesn't mean that somebody who doesn't love Star Wars can't love Mike Alton, but there's a brand awareness that ties in with that automatically attracts certain audiences. So knowing if your audience has a hobby or an interest, being able to tie in with that, and like I said, a lot of my audience are parents. So being able to tie into the parenting side of it and challenging, the aspects of being a parent, which most of us I know 3 of us and most of the people watching can understand, whether it's a potty training thing or whether it's, school thing or whether it's a late night thing. Like, we've all had these same experiences, and those are ways that you can use that strategy to really build those relationships and communication throughout, all of your content. But then also, like Steph said, social media is never in silo, right? Like, social media is part of your entire media kit. It's if someone's looking at a TV ad and then they come to your social media, they should be the same tone, text, style, logo, colors, voice, everything. Same thing goes for print ads, radio ads, your website, your, business cards, your brochures, your window displays, whatever it is, these all need to be consistent. So you can't have a social media team that never talks to the rest of your business. They should be tied into your customer service. They should be tied into your marketing. They should be tied into your accounting. They should be a whole component of your business that everybody speaks the same language.
Love it.
One of the things I talk about a lot is not just understanding interests, but also understanding the pain points. What are the problems that your audience is going through? Maybe it's directly related to your product. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a corollary, right? So this coming, holiday season, one of the major pain points that everybody has, that every customer of yours might have, is that they're under a time crunch. It's crazy at the holiday season because we stack all these abnormal things on top of our normal activities. So whether your product or your service directly speaks to that, maybe you can at least help your target audience understand that by working with you, you're going to help them save some time.
And that's a great point, Mike. I totally, I think so many times we look for the direct correlation, right? Like, it's like, well, this is the service I offer, and I offer dog grooming services, or I offer, consulting services for businesses, or, whatever it is. And we only think of what we do in kind of a linear fashion. But let's say it was a dog grooming thing. Okay, well, it could still tie into a time-saving thing where it's like, hey, we have before and after care services where you can drop your dog off in the morning, have them groomed, and don't worry, come back and pick them up when you're done your Christmas shopping 3 hours later. We're here to help alleviate your time constraints, because no one wants to worry about, I got to drop the dog off. I have 1 hour, then I have to pick the dog back up, and that doesn't give me enough time to go do this. Now I'm stuck in this location, and I can't do anything. So look and find ways that you can solve that pain point, even if it's not a direct correlation. There's ways that you can tie that in, and that goes, into an entire strategy overview, not just a singular event. But that's another thing to think about when you're looking forward with your strategy. We always want to look at least a year out. So we have, short-term strategies and we have long-term strategies, but you want to be looking a year out. Like I just did my Instagram live on Wednesday night, talking about your holiday planning, and really how you should have started your holiday campaign planning like at least months ago. You should be starting this year to start looking at what next year's holiday campaigns look like. And, you should be in the summer planning photo shoots and video shoots and what you need to do for your holiday campaigns before anyone's even thinking about the holidays. So you want to have that distance out where you can be picking up those key thoughts and planning those photo shoots and the video shoots and your content strategies and making sure your team is on board and all the pieces that go into that well in advance. And that ties into knowing, what are you going to have is there going to be a Valentine's promotion? Are you doing summer campaigns? Are you doing seasonal campaigns for back to school or graduation season? All of those things, you want to plan those out in advance so that you can think about those pain points that Mike just mentioned and figure out how your campaign can tie into those.
Very true.
So we're going to think about who we're talking to. We're going to think about all the different things that we want to, all the events that we want to take advantage of in the coming year, the seasons, whether they're business seasons, holiday seasons, whatever the case might be. What are some of the things that we want to be thinking about as we kind of build out our strategy for the coming year? Any other particular topics come to mind?
I would say, and I think Steph can probably jump in on some of this too, but think about trends. One of the big things going forward in 2019 is going to be video and live video. Regardless of whether or not you like it, I hate video. I don't like watching them. Honestly, for somebody who lives on live camera, right now.
Yeah.
I know, these two over here. But I'm always creating video, you guys. For somebody who doesn't like video, I'm live on camera at least 3 times a month. Between groups and my lives, and I'm recording podcasts and I'm recording training videos. I do a lot of video and I don't like doing it in the sense of it. I'm a blogger. I'm like Mike. I would rather sit down at the computer and type up a blog post, wham, bam, done. But I have learned, I know, and Steph is like the last thing she wants to do is type up a blog post. She's like, who can I pay to just transcribe this entire video for me and call it a blog post?
She's like,
YouTube will.
Mike, have you already written this?
Right. Exactly. Swipe file.
Yeah. I mean, Mike is crazy because I'll have a Facebook Live video and then 5 minutes later, he already has a written blog post. I'm like, you're insane. Like, how did you do that?
He's literally typing as you're talking. He's like already transcribed it and gotten all the key points taken out. And,
I might be blogging right now, and you don't know because now I'm not on camera.
He's using his feet. He's down there just typing away with his...
I just had like a really crazy visual of like Mike having like really long toes. There's like, oh my God. Sorry, Mike. Like, I'm sure you guys were like on a roll. You're like, yeah, we're gonna talk business strategy, and then like here comes Stephanie like talking about.
We already warned everybody. We warned everybody. Like, you have no idea whatever's going to happen when you get at least 2 of us, let alone all of us on a call. You have no idea what's coming your way. So just be prepared. Now we have visuals of Mike with long toes. These things happen when you get us on camera.
Like, my goal for next year is to really, really master Photoshop, because now I'm just going to be like, all right, the next time I see Mike like wearing sandals at social media marketer, he's like, Stephanie, don't you dare take pictures of my feet. Sorry, Mike, I love you.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. I believe we're speaking about live video.
Back to that. But yeah, focusing on what those trends are for 2019. And one of those trends is obviously live video, and making that part of your strategy, making a strategic commitment to actually film more video. And that doesn't mean you have to film live video every week. It doesn't mean you have to film a video every single day, but it means making a commitment to it, whether it's a 30-second or a 2-minute tutorial, whether it's a 15-minute interview, or maybe it's a webinar style for, a half hour, 45 minutes. Find a way to start incorporating that video component into your strategy. And then, looking at what other trends may be related to you. Are there things like with chatbots that would relate to you? Are there things with either augmented reality or virtual reality type components that could tie into you? Are there things related to, and I don't want to necessarily say like the whole Snapchat thing, but they've taken all those Snapchat features and they're tying them into all the other platforms, where now, the Snapchat camera is available on the desktop. Obviously, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, those sorts of things that, not that they aren't popular now, but if you're not using them now, how can you use them or use them better and more efficiently in 2019? Looking at your ad strategy. What are you going to do going forward with your ads that you can either start doing them? Are you going to look at ways to use them more effectively, put better management behind campaigns? So these types of like trend type things are things that you want to look at in your strategy as well.
And I would even add, like, if you guys are listening to Jen right now, you're like, damn, she's telling me all this shit that I gotta do. That's like crazy, right? Like, start thinking about like your resources, right? Like, is next year the time for you to step up and invest in a team? Like, what can you take off of your plate? Because let's be honest, many of you guys that are part of 360, you're probably a solopreneur. You're like the one-man band, right? So what can you put on your list that's like, okay, I'm going to be much more strategic next year and be much more proactive versus reactive and doing the tactical stuff, right? There's this one thing that Ask Evie had put in her solopreneurs group. She's like, what's like your business hack? Like, how do you stay productive? And I was one of those people where like, I have to create process docs for my interns, right? Because in that way I could focus on bigger deals, bigger collaborations to drive that bigger revenue. So if Jen was just like, yo, your ads, your chatbots, your augmented reality, and you're like, rah! Write that down. But that's like, now's a really good time for you guys to start brainstorming, right? And we haven't even, I don't know if you guys touched on this because I jumped in a little bit late, but, did we talk about analytics? Like, what type of content is really resonating for your audience? Like, having worked with Mike so much in terms of like the blogging piece of things, I'm constantly looking at Google Analytics. I'm looking at like which landing page people go to and why does it really resonate with them? Can I update it more? Can I put more call to actions in there or like opt-ins? Just folding that into your strategy of looking at like what's currently working, because maybe you want to add more resources to that, dedicate more time, or even make it better, or even just take a look at what's not working and then deciding, shit, do I still want to like try to make this thing work? Right? Or use those resources for something else because I know that it's really going to move the needle in my business. So thank you.
That's
and now back to Jen.
That really leads well into a question that Carol McPherson had. She said, is blogging necessary to build a service business? If so, what's the best way to build a content plan? For instance, keyword research versus topics that I want to write about, or a combo of both. So does anybody here know?
So I think Steph and I are going to take a little break over here, and we're just going to let Mike go.
Mike, it's your turn. Mike, how do you do your keyword research? Actually, let me tell you guys. The way that I do my keyword research is this: I write it all out, and then I hit up Mike. I'm like, Mike, what should my keywords be? And then Mike goes, copy paste, and I'm like, all right, done. I'm good. So Mike is my keyword planner. It's the Alton keyword planner. But Mike, go for it.
The service, right? So to Carol's point, should you be blogging? Absolutely. Pretty much no matter what kind of a business you are, there is a way that you can use content. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a blog. It can be articles, FAQs, whatever kind of written content you want. But typically, that's the kind of content that's going to rank well in a Google search and allow you to bring in organic traffic and then turn that traffic into leads and sales. And we all want that, right? So for me, a big part of my strategy for each coming year, and when I'm talking to clients, what I teach them to do in the coming years, think about, what do I want to accomplish from an organic search, from an organic content perspective? What do I want to rank for? What do I want to have people searching for? And I'm the number one result that comes up, because that's the kind of content that you want to create, and that's what you need a plan for. You can't just decide one day to write a blog post and it ranks. That just doesn't happen. It has to be strategic. It has to be planned and outlined. So typically for me, it starts by doing some keyword research. Carol is great. She comes from SiteSell, where they have a built-in keyword research tool. If you're not a member of SiteSell's product, then you can go to the keyword planner in Google. You can use SEMrush. There's lots of tools out there that you can use, but you're going to have to use a tool, because it's not about what you think people will search on, because we're often wrong, right? We're interested in something. We think something's a great idea. We think something's a wonderful topic to write about or do a video on, or whatever the case might be. But if no one else is actually searching for that, that's probably not a good place to invest your time into creating that content. So you use a tool that will tell you how many times last month people were searching for that topic, or the month before that. So that not only can you see volume, you can see trends. I wrote a huge article that went viral about Vine shutting down. And it was massive, and there were tons of people searching for that. There are still people searching today for what happened to Vine, but that's going down. I can see it in the metrics. I can see it in Google Trend Analysis. So should I invest more time in writing about that topic, knowing that I'm getting a lot of traffic today? No, because 6 months from now, there'll be even fewer people writing about it or reading about it, or wanting to read about it, than I had today. So I start by creating what I call a pyramid, and I really shouldn't call it a pyramid, because it's really just an upside down triangle. It doesn't have three.
It's sides. A pizza.
It's a
food funnel.
Food funnel. Okay. It's a slice of pizza, and at the very tip, at the top of the pizza, is that keyword that you want to rank for. And maybe it's the service that you provide, or maybe it's something else that's really important and integral to your business. SiteSell has a very similar philosophy that they teach as part of their product. But the idea is that you've got this thing at the top that you want to rank for. And what I suggest you do is create a page that really invests heavily into talking about that particular thing, that keyword, that service, whatever it is. And you come up with 3 major subtopics that help talk about that particular topic. And you turn those into 3 subpages. And those are just pages on your site that end up linking up to that top page. Now, this is all in your mind, right? This is all not a physical structure, because this is your website and they're just pages or posts within your website. But the linking that goes on in between them, and you can document this out on paper so that you know how it works and you can see how it works and how that flows, that's going to result in traffic flowing up to that top page. So for each one of those 3 subtopics, you write 3 blog posts. And again, I'm saying blog posts, but in your mind, just think, I'm going to write content about that. These could be articles, FAQs, videos, podcasts, whatever the case might be. You're going to create some content. Sure, there's nothing wrong with video content, but The caveat with video content or audio content here is that we do ultimately want that kind of content to live on the site in a way that Google can see it. Because what we want is now 9 blog posts around the bottom or the crust of the pizza that are going to attract people, right? They're going to come in, they're going to want to sit at your table and dine from your pizza. And as they enjoy the pizza, they're going to want to learn more. The blog post brought them in talking about how to do something that's maybe somewhat tangential to your topic of choice. But as they learn about that, they're going to learn about that topic and they're going to learn about you and they're going to want to learn more if you've done it in a smart way. So that'll lead them to the subtopic page and eventually up to the main topic page. So that brings traffic in. And as all that traffic comes in and all those links are established over time, that top page will become a #1 ranking for that particular topic.
Boom. Dang. Go, Mike Alton. Go. Go, Mike Alton. Go, Mike Alton. Go. Hey, P.S., by the way, I just noticed your background and I really like it. It's like holiday festive.
Yeah.
Is that do you have a baguette back there? Is that supposed to like represent Paris? Like what's going on, Mr.
He's got a wine bar. He's got like the whole thing going on.
Bienvenue à chez Alton. Vino. Ici. Bonjour.
Man, I need to step up my holiday background.
I know. I was like, now I feel like I need to get a Christmas tree back here. Like I feel like I'm missing out on the festivities. I need to get a 4th Christmas tree because Mike Alton went and put a Christmas tree up.
Well, in full transparency, that's the benefit of building a studio in the basement of your in-laws' house and having their entire life storage of stuff in front of you to go pick from. So I went diving. And
so every week he'll have a different set.
I might. I have plenty of furniture to choose from. Next week it'll all be about fitness because I got all kinds of gear down here.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
That's what happened.
All right, so
here
since Mike just Mike dropped the whole blogging content, are there any other questions that have come in?
Yeah, so let's see. Tom, here's a great question. Tom Harness is asking, let me bring it on the screen. What about the 3D photos with Facebook? I see a lot of potential for brands.
Okay.
Any comment on that?
You want to take it?
You know, I think they're cool. I mean, it definitely makes you slow your scroll, right? Slow your scroll, sister. Like, check this out, right? And you're just like, you scroll past it like up and down. You're like, okay, I see what's happening. I like it. I think there's a lot of things that you can do. Like, let's say if you have a product, right? I was going to pull something, but it's like lotion. So I'm not going to show you the brand name. But if you have, why does Stephanie have lotion on her desk? You guys,
we don't ask questions.
You're gonna have to watch the last episode. But like you could have a product like right there. Here, this is even better. Right? You could have a product that's right there, and then people can go ahead and check it out. And that's really cool. I think that's a ton of fun. God, see, you guys, this is live video, and I was like, I wish I did not just put that lotion there because I actually had something really cool to share. Stephanie.
Yeah, see, there's no
this is why live video though is awesome because this is you literally get the real us. Like you get Stephanie being like, the closest thing to me is a lotion. Like,
please take me off the camera. Oh my God.
Watch, that's gonna be the screenshot too. Like the freeze frame's gonna be Stephanie holding up a canister of lotion.
You can't. I'm hiding. I am officially putting my mic up too because I am crying.
You full camera on
you gotta understand. I mean, as a blogger, when I write a bad joke, I get to edit and take that out. And I'm like, okay, dude, that was stupid. We're not going live with that.
Yeah, I would probably like legit snorted. I don't even want to go back on camera right now, dude.
Okay.
This is where we need like a Bitmoji to like pop in place of stuff. So
she needs a cardboard cutout.
So for the 3D photos, it's one of those things where I think they're cool. I think they need more widespread application. I think right now it's too much of the shiny object syndrome. Like just like whenever they launch any new feature, typically all of us marketers are the first ones to jump on it and just like blatantly overuse these items because everybody got access to them. And a lot of common users do too. And they're just like, oh, there's this new feature. And everybody starts trying it out. And commoners. These average folk.
Sorry, all of you.
But I always say I'm like, marketers are the ones who ruin everything because we do. But that's the thing. I think right now people as always happens when something new comes out, we just try to do it with anything and everything. So right now, everyone's doing the 3D photos with their dogs and themselves and trees and randomness, and it's a cool feature that I haven't got yet. So
the real reason why she's poo-pooing it.
I'm like, yeah, I don't like it because I don't have it. But no, how much I plan on using it, I don't know. It's still one of those things that I do want to think about it more from a strategic business approach, like to Steph's point of what can you do in a way to use these 3D photos to augment your visual content, not replacing your visual content, not creating a bunch of randomness just because you can, but augmenting what you currently have. And that will mean looking strategically at those things. Are you doing product placement shots? Are you doing, photos in a lifestyle type environment where the 3D photo could make it better, or would it make it worse? Because some of the 3D photos I've seen, when you move, it really drags the background, and it's totally blurred, and there's this gray, shadow thing behind the object of focus. And so those ones, I'm like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have gone 3D on that one. That one didn't turn out so well. And
kind of creepy.
So playing with it and seeing how they work, and then how that can augment your existing visual content strategy, not replacing it, and not, like I said, just creating randomness for the sake of saying you can do it, then I definitely can see some good applications for it.
Yeah, Steph mentioned earlier that Evie asked in her group, "What are some of your business hacks?" And I jokingly responded, not getting involved in those kinds of Facebook discussions because that's going to drag you down, right? But it's kind of germane to what you guys are talking about right now. Yeah. The reason you want to have a strategy and the reason you want to think through what you want to do in the coming year is so that you can stay focused on those things as a business and not get distracted by the newest thing that comes out in 2 months or 6 months that may have no business application for you at all. Maybe they're fun, but as a business, we got to make sure that we're balancing the fun with what's going to impact the bottom line, right?
Well, and that goes to, Steph's point too, when I was talking about all the trends that are coming out and what you should embrace. That doesn't mean you have to embrace all of them, right? Like you may say for the first 6 months of the year, we're going to focus on a video strategy, get that off the ground, build that up. That's our focus. Maybe the second half of the year, you're going to focus on, maybe upping your ads, or maybe that's where you look at if there's a new tool that has come out, maybe you go, okay, there's a whole new feature. We're going to start working on augmented reality, or we're on chatbots. Or maybe you just try and go, okay, Instagram launched a new feature, or Facebook launched a new feature. Now we're going to focus on that. But like you said, to that point, having that strategy keeps you focused. So when the shiny objects pop up, you're not running in 93 different directions over the next 6 months trying to catch all of these random things, but just staying clear and focused. If it really is a tangible new trend, it will be there in 6 months. It will be there in a year. It will be there in 2 years. You don't have to be the first one on the platform to embrace it. And if you have the time and the team and the resources to try out the new things, great, go for it. If you've got the interns or a staff of a marketing team that can say, hey, why don't you run with this new feature and see what we can do with it? Great. But if it's you and your spouse, if it's, you and one other person or whatever it is, you guys don't have that kind of time to lose hours a day or days over months to focus on these random new things, or to try and build a whole new platform if you've never done video, to now all of a sudden be like, oh, we're going to create a video a week. That's a major undertaking. So look at it in a way that's realistic to you and have that strategy to give you that guidance forward that, to Mike's point, keeps you on that path, allowing for a little bit of detours and deviations, but that you're on that consistent path forward.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is there's basically 3 areas to avoid, right? Within the existing networks or things that you're doing, sometimes there'll be new features that come out that you want to be very careful of and be mindful of when you adopt those. There's also, because we're in social media, there's new networks and there's new opportunities for new platforms to jump in on, and those might be really great. But again, that could be distracting from your business strategy and your business goals. And then the third thing is techniques, because you mentioned video, and the same thing I hear people all the time with blogging or podcasting or something like that. I want to start a podcast. Okay, well, that's great. Does that fit your business goals? Do you have time to do it? Do you have time to be good at it? Are there other things that you've already started that you aren't good at yet? And that's where you need to invest your time. I mean, it's, projects around the house are a great analogy, right? Someone starts to renovate their bathroom and they get some challenges and they run into some hurdles. And then that project goes on for 6 months because they thought they could do it themselves. Well, that's okay if you're going to finish. But if you're not going to finish, don't move on to the next thing. So those are some pitfalls to avoid. But what else, when we're thinking about the strategy that we want to have in place for the coming year, any other pitfalls or challenges or hurdles that you might avoid?
I was just going to throw in kind of to that one point where if there is something you want to embrace, like let's say let's say you want to start a podcast, figure out how much time, like there's a reason Jen doesn't own a podcast because I'm not a producer. I don't have the time to produce that content. So you know what I do? I go on everybody else's podcast. I go be a guest. If you don't have time or the resources to create videos, find people that you can partner with that can do takeovers for your business where they create the videos about your business and you just have to post them. User-generated content where your audience is creating the content on your behalf and you get to repost it to your content. So if there's something you really want to embrace, but maybe it's outside of your wheelhouse in terms of existing resources or capabilities, find ways that maybe you can embrace it where you don't have to take on the full ownership of those projects as a way to get into that industry. And maybe next year, then you can say, okay, now we've seen huge results from this video component or from being a guest on podcast. Now we're ready and we have the infrastructure and we can do it ourselves.
Very true. Did we talk about like the other component that you should have in your strategy, which is really putting a timeline together or like your roadmap?
No, that's next. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of what we do for our clients is really like, you guys just put the camera on me, damn it.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
You're like, I'm going to sit back and put on some lotion. All right. So if you guys are already thinking about like timeline wise, right? Like, so January is coming up. What type of content typically works well for your business? Like, let's say you're in health and you're probably thinking like fitness tips to put back in there or healthy foods to put back in there. Or for those of us that are in social media, it's always going to be like, what are the social media trends for 2019? What's the new Facebook algorithm going to be like in 2019? Things that marketers should know about 2019. And start planning that content out there. Jen gave the perfect example of if you didn't plan for Black Friday back in the summer, you're kind of already late to the game. But you know what? If you want to plan for January, you could do that now, January, February, and March. In fact, I just got off a client call and sometimes they would send things over to me ad hoc, and I'm like, you know what? This was not in our strategy doc, so let's go ahead and add this. That way next year, we won't be caught off guard, and we could have the necessary resources to go ahead and staff up for it, right? And like you were asking earlier about what are some pitfalls that you can avoid? And yes, a lot of people fall into the shiny object syndrome and they want to try everything out. And let's say you're balancing your own personal brand and clients. Like Jen and Mike know this about me all the time. And I'm like, I haven't made time for myself to do anything, right? So I went back to what I used to do in the agency. And what I did was I would say, okay, there are 30 days in January. Okay. Of those 30 days, how many of those are actual working days? So I'll take out my vacation days. I'll take out the Wednesdays, right? Because I don't work on Wednesdays. And that boils down to how many actual working days that I have in January. Then I break it out by, well, how long does it take me to actually do a Facebook Live? And I take those hours out. And then whatever I have left over to experiment with something new, that's when I'll dedicate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Did you guys hear what she just said?
I know. I'm like,
she's taking the entire
intense.
month. She's looking at all the available time that she's got, and she's allocating what she knows she's got to do and where she's got time to fit in other things, and she's planning her play.
Exactly.
I love that.
And be mindful of also the fact that not everything is going to be work. You want to add in your self-care, right? Like as entrepreneurs, sometimes you want to hustle. And as a mom, I can't always do that. Like I need like Steph time. I need time to just be in my little fetal position with my gold ball and just like you drink some water and recharge, you know? So factor that into your schedule and figure out what's really going to work out. And if you have access to your analytics, which you should, or if you have someone that does it, get a report for them and just be like, what was really moving my business in Q1 that I should focus on, and then I'll readjust it that way. What tips do you guys have when it comes to putting together like the timeline in your strategy?
So for me, one of the things I always work with my clients is I say realistically, kind of to, your point, but maybe not quite that dialed in, but I say, how much time a day do you have for social media? Realistically. Because you can make the best strategy in the whole wide world, and when you sit down, that's going to take 12 hours of execution a day. And ain't nobody got time for 12 hours of execution a day.
Yeah.
Unless that is literally your only job, and then you just go to bed at night, and then you get up and you start all over again. So the reality is you don't have that much time a day. How much time do you legitimately have that you can commit? Where is it something that you can say, okay, I can do a half an hour a day. I could squeeze in 2 hours a day. And that may mean you do a half-hour block in the morning and a half-hour block in the evening. How much time, where can you legitimately put that time into your social media, and then plan your strategy around that? So if you say, I have an hour a day, what can you do in each hour of that day? And I always recommend calendaring it. Like I always, and book time in segments. So what I always tell people is you're scrolling through Facebook and you're reading an article, or you're scrolling through LinkedIn and you come across an article, bookmark those articles. If you read them and find them interesting and there's something you want to share to your audience, just bookmark them and then set that 1 hour aside on Tuesday per se, where now you go through and you read all of those articles. Then you take them and you put them into your dashboard like an Agorapulse or a Hootsuite and schedule them out in that 1 hour block on Tuesday. So your Tuesday hour commitment was devoted to reading posts and scheduling your content for the next week. Then the next Tuesday, you do the same thing. Then maybe on Wednesday, you say, Wednesdays are my day to shoot photos. So I know in the next month, I'm going to need this type of photo content. So Wednesdays, I'm going to schedule photo shoots. Maybe 1 week it's a morning shoot. Maybe 1 week it's an evening shoot because you want different lighting. Maybe one day it's raining and you kind of have to scrap that shoot. So maybe you do something different that you would have done an indoor shoot the following week. But every Wednesday, your hour commitment is so you're not just sitting there saying, okay, I have an hour to sit on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just do all these engagements. Instead, it's strategic for the entire strategic component of all your content, not just the interactions. And if you do that, after about a month, because it takes a month for things to become habit, it becomes routine, and you just know Tuesdays are your day to sit down and read. Wednesdays are your photo days. Maybe Fridays are your day where you spend a little extra time going through and engaging with content and leaving more comments on people's posts. And all through this, you still need to be reacting to comments, responding to messages. So you still have to leave time for that in your day-to-day activities. But calendar time on your schedule to do these chores and make that part of your strategy in the sense of how much time you have, and if your strategy says you want to increase sales by 80% and you want to get 10,000 new followers here and you want to get all of these opt-ins, and okay, can you realistically do that in 30 minutes a day or an hour a day? Because most of us don't have that much time, and we set ourselves up for unrealistic goals and eventually what we deem to be failure because our strategy was way outside our scope.
Yeah.
I love that. Although you did say the H word in the middle of that, and I thought we had an understanding on this broadcast that we aren't going to use the H word.
What's the H
I
word?
bet. Hootsuite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was raining because she was like, it would be hard to take photos, and then it's raining. And I was like, Mike Alton,
Now, the one thing that I was going to mention, though, real quick, is that you're talking about people thinking about how much time they're going to spend on social media, creating campaigns and all those kinds of things, which is very, very true. The other truth that I want to make sure people understand is that all these different things that you're talking about doing, you will get better at them over time.
Yes.
Right? Stephanie, I know you create blog content so much faster than you used to. I do. I don't create content at the same speed that I did when I first started 10 years ago because
Which is why he writes 5 blog posts in 5 minutes.
That's right.
He's literally written 2 posts and published them in the time we've been on this.
And what's really funny is that I'm very much a competitive person, and so as soon as I'm done with something and I know that Mike is interested in it, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go try to write something, and he'll always beat me, but at least I have I have someone to compete with, which makes it a little bit fun. And then I could always go back to him and get my keywords from him.
But that's something you can do with your team too, right? Like it could be something where if you are that competitive nature, if you have multiple people in your company or in your team, say, okay, you need to record a video and I need to write a blog post and we need to see who can get it done first and whose content is better. Because in reality, the two contents combined are the best. But you're giving yourself a challenge to see who can create it faster, who can create it better, who can put more, data in there or research to back it up or validating points or whatever it is. And you're both so committed to it that when it comes out, you both have these incredible pieces of work that now are fully publishable content. Or you turn around and say, okay, we'll publish the blog post and we'll embed the video in there. So you have, essentially two pieces of content in one, and then you put it on YouTube and that links back to the blog post and you do all this cross promotion and, you're maximizing both pieces. But that's a great idea, in terms of finding what that motivation is, because it's so easy to and for those of you who don't know, I work a full-time job and I run Jen's Trends as a secondary business. So I go to work all day and then I come home and work all night. And that isn't always the most motivating thing in the world. Let's just be real. So it's easy to come home on Tuesday and just be like, I'm going to just lay here and just catch up on some Real Housewives and not write a blog post and not record a video and not answer some emails. And so if you have that motivating factor of oh, my Colton's going to beat me to it, then, I'm going to sit down when I get home. I'm going to crank out that blog post.
Colton! Yeah.
But you're never going to win.
How
was that a competition?
Gosh, man. Crushing. Soul crusher. You know what I was going to add for you guys is that as you start planning out your timeline, this is what I do for my clients, and feel free to steal this idea. So I'll say January, key events. What are the key events that I should be aware of? Like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, my mom's birthday, my sister's birthday, whatever. And then I put in my messaging. What's my key messaging for the month? What's my theme, right? This could totally apply to your Instagram stuff as well as your blogging. And then what am I planning for? And usually when I say planning, it's what am I planning for in terms of content creation, or what do I need to go ahead and set the runway for February's launch, right? So I block that time out. I have an idea of what I'm going to do for content creation. And then I give myself ideas for channel management as well. So do I need to update my cover photo? How outdated is that bloody thing, right?
I haven't changed mine in so long.
Yeah. And then I also give myself time for monthly reporting because I want to know how I'm doing Instagram followers or Pinterest, all of that good stuff. And then, compare it and see what's working and move it around. And if I notice that something that I planned for January didn't get done, I could just copy and paste it and move it over to February. But the more that I see myself just keep moving it, I'm like, crap, is that actually a priority, or am I just putting it on there because it's the shiny object thing and I'm never going to do it? I'd rather just focus on things that I for sure am going to achieve. And you guys, I don't know if we even talked about SMART goals. Did we chat about that at all?
No, we didn't really talk about that. I was going to kind of say though, to what you were just talking about, that ties into ad campaigns too, you guys, where if you're planning that calendar and that context and those campaigns, and if you're setting things up, you need to be thinking your ad campaigns before those, periods come up as well, because you need to think about what your ad spend's going to be. You need to think about, do you need to create any additional, copy, creative? Who are the ad targets or, audiences going to be? Are you going to have multiple ad sets running where you can do either A/B testing, or are you targeting multiple audiences with one ad in different capacities and all these things? So that's going to tie into your planning. That's going to tie into your budgeting as well. When you're looking at the strategy, it's great to be like, oh, I want to do all these things and here's where I'm going to go. But you need to put the money behind it, not only for the ad set, but for your time as well, or for your team's time. So if you're going to be running a campaign that's going to be, you're doing a February launch, you need to start thinking about that now. You need to start thinking about, okay, do you need to, are you going to hire an intern or a temp to help, facilitate during that campaign? Is this something where you're going to need more time during that campaign? If anyone's ever run a launch, it's the most exhausting time suck on the planet, and literally nothing else matters during a launch. So what do you need to do in advance so you don't have to worry about those things during your launch week, and you can just focus on the launch and pull those, okay, write a couple extra blog posts, record a couple extra podcasts so they're already in the feeder during that launch week. that you don't have to worry about creating content and those sorts of things. So the timing and the budget all tie into what Steph was just saying about managing that component too.
Okay, so hold up. So, well, first of all, I'm going through exactly what you're talking about right now. We don't have a product launch, but I'm doing the webinars, as you guys know, because you guys are doing a couple webinars for me, and so are literally a dozen other people next month. And so this is like all I'm thinking about is these webinars and launching this massive event that's just gonna, be the most epic thing on social media ever. But we've been talking about strategy. We've been talking about ad campaigns. We've been talking about planning content. How do you do all that? How do you keep track of that? And I know, Stephanie, you were kind of alluding that because you were talking about copy and pasting stuff from January to February. And I'm like, that doesn't work unless you've got a tool. What are you using for that?
I use Asana for all of my clients. And I used, it depends on how like my clients think, right? So majority of them like the 3 columns, which is basically to do, in progress, and what's completed. And then I have an extra column called the parking lot, where it's like, ideas that we want to execute, but we don't really have a team to do it. And so sometimes like it'll just fall over there. But if I notice that like something is still in the to-do column and it's red because there's like this deadline date that already passed, I'm like, dude, okay, like, are we really going to do this, or does this just need to be in the parking lot? So that's one way I use Asana, but I also have like a strategy doc, like an actual keynote template. And that's easier to send to clients, or if clients want to send that to other departments that they're collaborating with, because they want to know what's on our schedule and what we're planning for. Because you guys, if you want to collaborate with other departments or even like other influencers and you don't even know what's on your calendar, how can they plan in advance with you, right? So if Mike is coming to me and saying like, hey, we want to work something in January, it's like, you know what? I already know that come December, I'm only working 5 days in December. You guys, that's insane. Like, it's insane to say that. Like, I legit.
Can I have your schedule?
Yeah. I'll teach you how. Like, I was telling Jen and I was telling Mike, I was like, come Thanksgiving, I'm gone for 3 weeks. And then there's like that 1 week, I think it's like the 17th, I come back for work. I work 4 days. And then it's Christmas.
Then it's Christmas.
That's it.
Yeah. And I own your ass for like one of those days.
Yeah. I was like, this one day you have me. And then like, I will be overloading on candy canes and just.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Steph on a webinar on like a full-on sugar rush? OMG.
I'm going to have to make sure I get her early in that week.
Yeah, seriously. P.S. By the way, like, this is Stephanie now, and then come like December, I'll be like, like coming back from Disney World, like, I had a churro. Like this, like, it's ridiculous. Welcome to the churro show.
Whatever it takes.
Oh, dear goodness.
Whatever it takes.
Right.
Any other tools?
All right, so Stephanie uses Asana.
Jen?
Mike,
Yep.
what do you use?
Well, yeah, I'm all over the board because my work experience is a little bit different. I'm usually working for a company and not having a bunch of clients where I'm kind of telling them what to go do, although that sounds really attractive. So we use Asana. We also use Trello at AgoraPulse. At some of the previous companies that I've worked with, it's been a lot of Google Docs, which...
Yeah.
1 or 2 Google Docs is good. A lot of Google Docs is not good. So I definitely would encourage people to kind of use a tool of some kind. Basecamp is one that I've used in the past that works very similarly to Asana.
Cool. Yeah. So, and one of those things, because I do my own projects, again, I have consultations and I work with clients, but I don't do management for any of my clients. I don't have, checklists and things I need to run through with them. So for me, I live and die by my Google Calendar. So everything goes on my Google Calendar. Deadlines are listed on there. Every appointment, personal, professional, everything is listed on there. I block off chunks of time so that I know when I can and can't have personal time. So if I've got friends coming into town, I block those days off my calendar knowing that I have people in town. I'm not going to be getting work done, which means if I have client projects that are due or if I have deadlines for blog posts or submissions, I can plan my week around those saying, okay, I know I need to have everything done by Tuesday night because so-and-so is coming into town on Wednesday and I'm not going to get any work done again because I only work on Jen's Trends Sunday through Wednesday because I have my daughter on Thursday through Sunday, and I try not to work on the weekends. So if I have someone coming into town on Wednesday, then that literally only leaves me like Monday and Tuesday to get work done, which means I'm not going to go out, with friends or, take the night off and catch up on DVR or watch a movie. I'm going to sit down and hustle and get everything done so that I know when my friend is here on Wednesday, I can go out with them. So for me, because I'm only managing my time and my projects, I can use a Google Calendar, and I color code everything, so I know if things are, certain colors, they are either like a personal commitment or they're when I'm doing a training session versus when I have a consultation. So I can just look at my calendar and even just by the color differentiation, know what that commitment is and make sure that I'm planning ahead when I'm looking at that calendar and saying, or even when a client comes to me, like I have certain periods of the year where, especially in the springtime, I will have people contact me in March and I'm booking consultations into May because I can look at that calendar and say, nope. And I'm looking down weeks and weeks and go, okay, my next available is literally 6 weeks away. And they're like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, if you want to work with me, it's going to be 6 weeks. And some people are like, okay, I'll find somebody else. Great. Some people are like, grab me on your calendar. I don't want to miss out and get stuck waiting even longer. So it's just certain times of the year I have different, requirements that tie into that. But all of that color coding, all of that in one calendar, so I'm not going back and forth between, different databases and different calendars and a personal, recording over here and a professional one over here. That's what works for me.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm hearing from you and Stephanie as well, this underlying idea of commitment. You're committed to using some tools. You're committed to creating a strategy. Yep. You're committed to getting the work done. Which means for those of you listening, if you're thinking like, wow, I don't know if I can add another tool or add another platform or something like that, what's most important is having that commitment to next year, to being a business success, and to coming up with a strategy. The tools and the platforms and that kind of stuff will make it a little bit easier for you. Maybe not. Be committed, though. That's what I want to.
And I think with that, since we're coming up on the 1 hour mark here, that ties into 360 Marketing Squad, you guys. This is one of those things where you can't do it all. The reason we have 360, the reason we have 4, aka Amanda sitting right over here, pretend, as she drives across the country. But the reason we have 4 of us is because even the 4 of us realize we can't do all of this on our own. We have turned to each other in so many different ways that are happening in the back ends of our business where we lean on each other because no one can do all of these components themselves. You need a team for any sort of success, and 360 Marketing Squad is what we want that to be for you. We want to help you. We want to be that resource where you can ask those questions, come into the group, get those answers so you don't have to spend 6 hours on Google researching something. You can come to the group and say, hey, I needed this answer, or hey, my customer asked me this, or hey, I want to launch this. What do I need to know? We will either answer the question directly, give you the directions and how to get you started or whatever you need. And for $5 a month, you have all of the 4 of us, which cover 360 degrees of your marketing toolkit to answer all of those questions. So if you're not already a member of 360 Marketing Squad, come hang out with us. Go to 360marketingsquad.com. You can sign up right away. $5 a month. That is it. Going into the holidays, this is something that's going to be valuable. And we talked about time saving. We're here to save you time. We're here to help you with those content strategies to get you guys all set up so that going into the new year, you can build that content plan for yourself. You can build, the resources and tools that you need to be successful in 2019. We got you.
Got you. P.S. Isn't it our 1 month anniversary today?
It is our 1 month anniversary.
It's our anniversary.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, we launched just 30 days ago, and we already have about 100 people in the group, which is great. That is an extra layer of networking and engagement that you can get on your posts. It's not just the 4 of us feeding in to you and answering your questions. Other people chime in. And some of them are really, they're all really knowledgeable in one way or another. So some of them are really able to chime in and answer a lot of those questions and give you some feedback beyond what you're paying for.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
All right, guys.
Anything else to add?
Dude, you guys get started on your 2019 strategy. And if you need help, go hang out with us in the group because I know that I want to share the big plans that I have for what I'm up to. Hey.
Hey. Teaser.
So we will be back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Stephanie will not be with us.
I will not be. No, I'm
So
trying.
we're gonna have a special guest. We haven't solidified the guest yet, but we will have a special guest with us. Ideally, we always want to have 4 of us here for you guys, giving you a full 360-degree perspective. So we will have a special guest next time in addition to Amanda, Mike, and myself. And so, yeah, we're doing these shows every 2 weeks, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So it's next week is Black Friday, Thanksgiving week. So it'll be the following week that we will be back here with our next show. Mike, did we line up that topic already?
I don't think we have. So we'll announce that in the coming week.
We were tossing around ideas. We've got the Google Doc going, talking about organization for a team. We got a Google Doc.
Well, if you guys have ideas, by all means, go ahead and suggest them. Like, if there's something that you're trying to work on that you really want us to focus on, by all means, like, this is interactive.
Drop them in the comments. Let us know what you want us to cover for topics. Thinking end of the year, thinking, going into 2019. That's why we wanted to cover the 2019 and the strategy plan today, because we want to give you time to start thinking about that before the end of the year. But if there are any topics that you definitely want us to talk about, please leave those comments. We will add them to our list of options to cover for you guys.
Awesome. And with that, I think we're done.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.